You remember that Marvel Studios film called Avengers Endgame that was 3 hours long? Yeah, it turns out it could have been 3 hours and 40 minutes long. That was the Russo cut of the film that they handed in before they were told that they needed to cut out at least another 40 minutes. So this came from Autocomplete Interview, where the Russo brothers both talked about the supposed 6-hour cut of Avengers Endgame that started to circulate before the film even had the Avengers Endgame title, where people were still calling it Avengers Annihilation. Now, of course, we knew that that never existed, but that was essentially the assembly cut, where they tossed everything they had into one and it was close to 6 hours. That did, in fact, exist. So, on top of this, the Russo brothers talk a little bit about the 6 hours cut, and they say that to them, Infinity War and Endgame back-to-back is more or less that 6-hour cut because it was intended to be part 1 and part 2. Of course, Infinity War, part 1 and part 2. But they talk a little bit more about the extended version that actually did exist of Avengers Endgame. And they reveal that, yeah, there was a much longer version, specifically one that they believe was around 3 hours and 40 minutes long. But they do then say that ultimately, when you look at that additional 40 minutes, it feels like it deserves to be on the editing floor and cut out because it didn't offer too much extra in terms of what it actually had to offer the actual film we saw and that we ended up getting. And again, I'm gonna trust them on this because let's be real, there's no version of this film where the Defenders or anybody like that shows up. It just doesn't exist. I know that was rumored. There was a lot of people saying it does exist, but they couldn't do it. There isn't. We know for a fact. We would have seen leaks. We would have had actors confirm they shot scenes for it. It doesn't exist. Essentially, what you get from an additional 40 minutes is more padded out scenes, scenes of them talking way longer, scenes that, drag out, if you will. Many people have compared this to the Snyder Cut, where as much as I like it, you could still cut out a good 45 minutes and still get the same effect that the Snyder Cut did that made it far superior to the actual theatrical release. But sometimes a director does have to make the choice and go, you know what? This 40 minutes probably doesn't work, and that's what they did to deliver Avengers Endgame. And honestly, well, no, it's been a couple years, so I'm pretty sure people have already turned on Avengers Endgame and hate it, so I don't want to say it'll make it better if you restore it, but it could probably make it worse because the pacing would be so off.